Good morning students, this is Harveer. So we are continuing with the chapter Footprints Without Feet from your book Footprints Without Feet. So what we read till now, that there was a scientist named Griffin who invented a drug that made human body invisible. He consumed that drug and started stealing money and all. So what happened, he entered a store because as he was invisible, it was very cold and he could not do without clothes. Okay, he could not help him without clothes. He entered a store, just try to warm himself and to feed himself. So he went over there, he entered that store, he fed himself with wine and some meat, and then he wore clothes over there. He slept on the pile of quilts, and in the morning he was not able to wake up at good time. What happened, two assistants entered the store and they found that some person was lying over there, and they thought it was a thief. Then when Griffin saw them approaching towards him, he started running. He got panicked, he got frightened, and he tried to run away. He take off his clothes and became invisible and ran away from that store. So after that, he thought of a plan. He thought that he would try something new. He would hide his face, empty face as well, empty space above his shoulders as well. He thought of going to a theatrical company. So he went to Drury Lane. Drury Lane is the center of theatrical world. So what happened? Let us read at page number 28. He soon found a suitable shop. He made his way invisible upstairs and came out a little later wearing bandages round his forehead, dark glasses, false nose, big bushy side whiskers and a large hat. So now he was able to find a suitable shop at Drury Lane, and he went upstairs in that shop. He found whiskers, big bushy whiskers over there. Whiskers is here on your cheeks. Okay, so he wore hat, large hat. He tied bandages round his head, and then he wore glasses as well. He also fixes a false nose at this place just to become visible, so that his this empty space above his shoulders could also be visible to others. Then to escape without being seen, he callously attacked the shopkeeper from behind, after which he robbed him all the money he could find. So what he did not want anybody to see him. So to do that, what he did, he callously mean cruelly. He cruelly attacked the shopkeeper from behind, and he stole all the money that was available over there. Eager to get away from crowded London, he took a train to the village of Epping, where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn. So he wanted to get away from that crowded London. He did not want anybody to notice him. So what he did, he boarded a train to village named Epping, and he booked 2 rooms in that village in the inn. Inn is a hotel or restaurant kind of thing where you could take a shelter. A stranger at an inn in winter was in any case an unusual event. It was a winter season, so it was an unusual that any of the tourists approached or went to that village. So it was an unusual event that the people of that village found any tourist in that time. A stranger of such uncommon appearance set all the tongues wagging. So what happened, as that Griffin was wearing bandages and he was wearing glasses and all, so he looked very strange. So the people started talking about him, that he was a very strange person. Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made every effort to be friendly, but Griffin had no desire to talk and told her, "My reason for coming to Epping is a desire for solitude." So, oh, what happened? Mrs. Hall, she was the owner of the inn, landlord's wife, and she tried to talk to Griffin. She tried to be friendly with him, but Griffin was not like other people. He did not want to talk to anyone. He gave the reason that he told her that just for solitude. Solitude means to be alone. He wanted to be alone. That's why he came to that village. I do not. He added that I do not wish to be disturbed in my work. Besides, an accident has affected my face. He said that he did not want anybody to disturb him, and he added that his face was affected by an accident. He told a lie over here. We know that he was an invisible man, and that's why he wore bandages around his head, glasses, nose, that side bushy whiskers. We know that, but he told lie to Mrs. Hall that his face was affected. That's why he was wearing those bandages. Satisfied that her guest was an eccentric scientist, and in view of the fact that he had paid her in advance, Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habits and irritable temper. So this Griffin, he was a very irritable person. He got irritated easily, and he was short-tempered as well. So Mrs. Hall excused this behavior because he gave her some cash in advance, money in advance, and she was satisfied with that. But the stolen money did not last long, and presently Griffin had to admit that he had no more ready cash. We know that from where he got that money. He stole that money from that shop in the Drury Lane, and he gave that money to Mrs. Hall as a rent. Now he was not having any more money. That stolen money was over, and he admitted to Mrs. Hall that he was not having any more money. He pretended, however, that he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment. He tried to act that he would get. He tried to act in front of Mrs. Hall. He told her a lie that within a day or two he would get some check. Shortly afterwards, a curious episode occurred. Very early in the morning, a clergyman and his wife were awakened by noises in the study. What happened? After some time, a strange episode, a strange thing happened. There was a clergyman and his wife living in that village. They woke up early in the morning. They heard some noises coming from the study. Study is an office kind of thing. They heard some noises that were coming from the study of their house. Creeping downstairs, they heard the chink of money being taken from the clergyman's desk. So they climbed downstairs, they went downstairs, and they heard some noise of money, noise of coins or money being taken, as someone was stealing that money from their desk, from clergyman's desk. Without making any noise and with the poker grasped firmly in his hand, the clergyman flung open the door. So what that clergyman and his wife did, they went downstairs, and they did not make any noise. Clergyman was holding a poker mean an iron rod in his hand, and he suddenly opened the door. "Surrender," he said. He thought that there was some thief who was trying to steal the money from his study. Then, to his amazement, he realized that the room appeared to be empty. He and his wife looked under the desk and behind the curtains and even up the chimney. Then that clergyman was surprised. He was amazed because he did not find anybody in that room. That clergyman and his wife, they searched everywhere. They searched under the desk. They searched behind the curtains, but they were not able to find any person over there. There was not a sign of anybody, yet the desk had been opened and the housekeeping money was missing. They were not able to find anyone. There was not even a sign of anybody over there. But the desk, the drawer that was there in the study, it was opened and their money was missing. Money was not there. It was stolen. extraordinary affair, the clergyman kept saying for the rest of the day. So clergyman and said that it was an extraordinary affair, it was an unusual thing, because there was nobody in the house, but still his money got stolen. We know that it was an invisible man, it was that he was Griffin who stole the money. He became invisible, that's why they were not able to see him. But it was not as extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture a little later that morning. So, but that thing, the episode, the thing that occurred over there at clergyman's house was not extraordinary, was not strange enough, because something more strange happened at Mrs. Hall's house with Mrs. Hall's furniture. The landlord and his wife were up very early and were surprised to see the scientist's door wide open. So what happened? Landlord and his wife, Mrs. Hall, they got up early that morning and they were surprised. They were amazed that the door of the scientist's room, the door of the Griffin's room was wide open. Usually it was shut and locked, and he was furious if anybody entered his room. Usually what happened, what used to be there, at his door, his room was always locked, and he got irritated whenever anybody entered his room. He did not want anybody to enter his room, but that morning it was open, the door was open. The opportunity seemed too good to be missed. They peeped round the door, saw nobody, and decided to investigate. So Mrs. Hall and her husband found that opportunity found that it was a good opportunity. So they tried to enter the room. They thought that they would enter the room and would try to find what things are there, what unusual thing is there, and so they entered that room. The bedclothes were cold, showing that the scientist must have been up for some time, and stranger still, the clothes and the bandages that he always wore were lying about the room. So when they entered the room, what did they saw? They touched the clothes, and those were very cold, as the scientist was away for some time. So the clothes, and what did they see? They saw that the clothes that he usually wore and the bandages that he usually wrapped around his forehead, all those things were lying in that room. All of a sudden, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ear. A moment later, the hat on the bedpost leapt up and dashed itself into her face. Then suddenly, Mrs. Hall, she heard as if somebody was breathing and just near her. And moment later, what happened? The hat that was hanging on the bedpost. Bedpost is the pole at the four corners of the bed. Okay, that hat was hanging over there, and it jumped. The hat jumped and it went towards Mrs. Hall and hit on her face. Then the bedroom chair became alive. Springing into the air, it charged straight at her, legs foremost. Again, one thing more happened. That bedroom chair, the chair that was there in that bedroom, it became alive. It started moving in the air and went towards Mrs. Hall. Invisible Man was playing all these tricks and was trying to frighten them. As she and her husband turned away in terror, the extraordinary chair pushed them both out of the room and then appeared to slam and lock the door after them. Then what happened? The chair, the extraordinary chair, it pushed both of them out of the room, and the door closed by itself. That invisible man, Griffin, was doing all these things, but they were not able to see him. He was trying to frighten them. Mrs. Hall almost fell down the stairs in hysterics. She was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits and that the stranger had somehow caused these to enter into her furniture. Mrs. Hall was so frightened that she fell down the stairs. She was convinced. She thought that the room was haunted by the spirits. Haunted by the spirits means that there were some ghosts in the room. and she believed that stranger was having hand in it. That stranger caused that spirits that goes to enter her room and in her furniture. My poor mother used to sit in that chair, she moaned, to think it should rise up against me now. So Mrs. Hall felt very bad. She cried that her mother used to sit on that chair and now the same chair was rising against her. The feeling among the neighbors was that the trouble was caused by witchcraft. So after listening the noises, after hearing the noises, neighbors come around. They were feeling that the trouble was caused by some witchcraft, someone was playing with the ghosts. But witchcraft or not, when news of the burglary at the clergyman's home became known, the strange scientist was strongly suspected of having had a hand in it. So after that, when the people over there got to know the news of burglary at clergyman's home, they all suspected about scientists. They suspected that scientist Griffin must having a hand in it. Suspicion grew even stronger when he suddenly produced some ready cash, though he had admitted not long before that he had no money. So the suspicion grew more stronger when Griffin gave money to Mrs. Hall. So, because just before some time he said that he was not having any money, but now, from where he got that money? That's why people suspected him. That suspicion grew even more stronger. The village constable was secretly sent for. Instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist who had somehow mysteriously appeared from his empty bedroom. So, after that, village constable was called and Mrs. Hall went to scientist's room just to know whether he was there or not. And to her surprise, she found scientist over there, that Griffin over there. I want to know what you have been doing to my chair upstairs, she demanded. She asked the Griffin that what was he doing with her chair upstairs. She wanted to know each and everything. And I want to know how it is you came out of an empty room and how you entered a locked room. And she even wanted to know that how come he entered the empty room without being noticed by anybody. The scientist was always quick-tempered. Now he became furious. Scientist, we know Griffin was short-tempered. He got irritated easily. He said, "You don't understand who or what I am," he shouted. "Very well, I will show you." He shouted at Mrs. Hall. He got very angry when she was questioning him like this, and he shouted that he would show her that who he was. Suddenly he threw off bandages, whiskers, spectacles and even nose. And then what he did, he threw the bandages that he was covering with those bandages, he was covering his head, he threw off those bandages, whiskers, spectacles and he threw off his nose even. It took him only a minute to do so. He removed all these things in a minute. The horrified people in the bar found themselves staring at Headless Man. People got frightened when they looked at the Headless Man in the bar. Mr. Jaffers, the constable, now arrived and was quite surprised to find that he had to arrest a man without a head. Mr. Jaffers, who's Mr. Jaffers? He's a constable, policeman who had been called by the villagers. He was surprised, he was amazed that he had to arrest a man who was not having any head. But Jaffers was not easily prevented from doing his duty. If a magistrate's warrant ordered a person's arrest, then that person had to be arrested with or without his head. So Jaffers was such a man, he was so duty bound that he would arrest a person whether he was having head or not. If he got a warrant that this such and such person had to be arrested, then he would definitely arrest that person at any cost. There followed a remarkable scene as the policeman tried to get hold of a man who was becoming more and more invisible as he threw off one garment after another. What happened after that? When Constable Jaffers tried to catch that man, he was surprised because the man that he had to catch was becoming invisible. So Griffin started removing his clothes one by one. Finally, a shirt flew into the air and the constable found himself struggling with someone he could not see at all. Then what happened? A shirt flew into the air and Griffin removed his shirt as well and he became totally invisible, and Jeffers was now struggling with a man who was not seen by anyone. No one was able to see him. We know that he was invisible, that's why no one was able to see him. Some people tried to help him but found themselves hit by blows that seemed to come from nowhere. Many of the people around there, they tried to help Jeffers in catching that scientist, but they were also hit by the blows from nowhere, so they were not able to help him. In the end, Jeffers was knocked unconscious as he made a last attempt to hold on to the unseen scientist. What happened at the end? Jeffers fell unconscious when he made his effort to catch the unseen scientist, to catch invisible man. There were nervous, excited cries of "hold him," but this was easier said than done. People started crying, people started shouting, "Hold him," but it was not easy to do so. Griffin had shaken himself free and no one knew where to lay hands on him. Now Griffin escaped and no one was able to catch him because he was invisible. So we read that how a scientist used his power of invisibility for his own selfish needs instead of using it for the welfare of mankind.